Alright, tier list video for Liverpool regional. I think I should go a little bit up to see if, yeah. Alright, guys, this is going straight to YouTube, so remember that. Anyway, let's get into the list. So just to clarify, S tier will be the decks that I think will be the most popular, but also that I think has the highest potential of everything. Yeah. Or basically just the most popular in general. Like and the decks we should try and beat personally. But that's just my personal opinion. A tier is like tier 1 in a way. It's actually tier 1, but the S tier is just above everything else. And so yeah, S tier is above. It's A tier, the most popular decks. A tier is just the decks that actually has a good chance to literally beat the top decks, but also has a good one but also a little bit matchup dependent as well. B tier is like slightly okay, but also could beat all the top decks, but has some issues with them, but I think they're fine sometimes. C tier is like, you'll be lucky if you make day through sometimes, and D tier is just don't play it. Like, now I just want to get it out of the way. I think Tina might be the most popular, honestly, but also I think probably might be the strongest as well. I might have underestimated a little bit with how strong Giratina actually is. I tested against the deck a lot lately, and it looks to be way stronger than I expected. So I play against it with it as well. Seems way stronger than I expected, so might be the most popular, but also probably the strongest. I'm not going into how the percentages because it's like random, honestly. So, but that's just me. Zard, probably the second. I'm still tempted to put Zard higher than Giratina. I still think Zard is better overall than Tina is, but Tina is just super versatile against everything else. Like, I don't know. I still think it's pretty close against each two, but I think if they're also playing against each other, Tina might be a little bit more favored in the matchup. Well, but it also depends on if they start playing Radiant Star with choice builds. It's a little bit dependent on that as well. So a little bit dependent on both of them, but I will probably say Giratina is more favored. So I have close opinion on these two. So this is how I feel about it. Garwar is also up here. Garwar is also up here. Probably just as really good against both of them. Slightly favored against Giratina, pretty favored against Charizard, so, but has hard time against Miraidon. I actually want to put both Miraidons on here, actually. I think both Miraidon are probably going to be the most popular. I think they're 50-50 with each other, with the most popular and also the strongest. I still like the Peony a little bit better, but I can see Fluffy still be decent because it has better start matchup, but also better coverage against Giratina. Maybe Peony version is actually slightly better, I don't know. But they're both favored into Garwar because of Iron Hand, so Peony might be more favored because Peony version is more favored because Iron Hand's turbo is disgusting against Garwar. A tier, I'm gonna put both Mew actually. Like, it's Mew, what can we expect? This is how I actually see it will be, honestly. This is like, I foresee Giratina, Zard, Garwar, and both Miraidon just be the 4 most popular. And then I can probably see Mew being really strong, because Mew is just overall just good against everything here, except for maybe Garwar and Charizard. Pretty unfavored against Zard. Iffy against them, or maybe decent against Garwar, I guess. Not sure. Maybe a little bit unfavored, but it depends on us or how a box of disaster being, obviously. Pretty favored against Giratina, super favored into Miraidon, so I still prefer the DTE more than the Fusion, but it's a biased opinion. It's more like an opinion based at this point, because it's like, if you respect Spiritomb or not, if you play Fusion Age in the double tuber version, you should be fine, I suppose. What else can I see maybe do well? I actually don't know. The format is actually pretty versatile right now. I don't see how many decks can actually beat these. I actually don't think there's more in 80 actually. Maybe Urshifu? It's hard to tell. It's like Urshifu on paper just seems really good against basically everything. It's just immune numbers that just scares it for the most part. I mean, if you have a good time with Urshifu, you might be good against everything, honestly. I have zero clue about the Giratina matchup. I know the start matchup is pretty favorable. I played against it and I've been destroyed multiple times. Garwar, slightly favored. And I say slightly favored because I don't think it's completely favored, because Garwar does have some inclusions. Can do some inclusions that just makes the matchup just awful sometimes if it gets set up. So Marina is just 50-50 at this point. Maybe on favor against the peony version, but that's like bias. So you're more likely to hit. You will love to hit the Flyvia version, obviously. You're insanely unfavored against Mew. There's nothing to talk about there. So I think that's probably it, actually. Now this might be a biased opinion, actually, a little bit, but now Marina might be a little bit popular and also seems pretty strong and decent, actually, but I actually like Roaring Moon a lot. Not as much as putting, but I'm actually trolling. I'm actually putting the 80 actually. I actually like Roaring Moon a little bit, especially with Iron Hands and Greninja. It actually seems extremely powerful because you have so many ways to actually do pretty well against most of the decks. Plus, you're doing pretty decently on the. Plus, you're doing pretty decently against basically anything actually, and you have so much utility and you're really aggressive as well. Well, I say this only because I saw a decent amount doing well, so we might see it being more popular and also could substantially do well because the numbers was extremely high at Charlotte. We don't have exact numbers of how many there were in day 2. We have the pie chart, we have the charts for the top 6, but not for the rest, obviously. But Roaring Moon did decently well, actually. But I think it was 3 in top 16, actually, when I saw a chart about it. Actually looked pretty decent. So, I might get it more credit than it's supposed to be, but I actually think it might be pretty okay now. Because I think it has been more established into the meta like the rest of the decks, obviously. And probably pretty decent against most of them. But maybe not Garwar, that's like a pretty terrible matchup, I should be completely honest. Also feels like a worse Miraidon, but it's still consistent and feels pretty powerful when it gets rolled in. So I actually like this a little bit. I'm gonna put both lost variants here. Maybe Sablezard actually higher than Lost Box. Honestly, it kind of sucks that Lost Pile is not as good as it looks. It's not as doing well as I hoped for. I really like the Kyogre version. I really do. But it doesn't look to be that good, actually. I could see the Super Effector Glass version actually do better. Actually do pretty well. Because it has pretty good start matchup. I think it's decent against Giratina, but I'm not 100% sure. Pretty fair range of Marina. Garwar, excuse me. Because you have Iron Hands, Roaring Moon to one-shot the Garwars, and yeah. That sounds pretty good to me. And you're also I think you're also okay against Miraidon. You're actually okay because you're playing Minior with Super Effector Glasses for 3 times weakness, which is insane. Pretty okay. I think you're okay against Mew, but I might be biased about it. Urshifu is probably one of the worst matchups you have. Roaring Moon, I have zero clue about it. Yeah, looks pretty okay to me, honestly. Sablezard, I think still might be more favorable because it's good against Giratina, it's good against Zard. Maybe not as much. I don't know. It depends on how well the Zard player is doing. Not sure about the Garwar matchup. I think the Marina might be. I think probably it has the best matchup against the Iron Hands deck, as out of all the Lost Zone decks actually. I thought maybe Giratina, but Giratina is like pretty strong in general. So but I think, but as a non-Giratina Lawson deck, Sablezard might be actually best into a Iron Hands deck. So I actually like this a little bit. So, but again, it's a biased opinion in the end, honestly. And control Snorlax also looking fine. Good Zard, pretty good Zard matchup, pretty good Scarlet matchup. Slightly unfavored against Miraidon, but I'm not 100% sure. Giratina, terrible matchup. Unless you're playing extremely well as Snorlax, I will say. Mew matchup is like 50-50 no matter which version it is. I think you're worse against DT, but I might be wrong about it. Urshifu, your good time against Roaring Moon also be pretty okay against, I will say. Lost on variants, I'm not 100% sure about it. I think it's 50-50 maybe. I don't know. But if you're playing as a super glass version, you might be a little bit in trouble. Because Minior can hit you for 3 times weakness, which is not good. So yeah, Snorlax seems okay, but might have some problems. There are some things you just have to consider. And if you consider playing it, learn the ins and outs of it, because it's actually hard to play than Giratina, because you need to do 0 mistakes with the deck, which is absurd. I still like GM Power a lot. I don't know. I started to like GM Power a lot lately. I don't know. It just seems so good on paper, but it's just doing well. Which is sad, honestly. It's so sad to see. The deck looks on paper pretty good in the meta. It's not doing well. It's like, it's so insane. I think it has pretty good Zard matchup, which already benefits it. It has decent against Garwar if you are piling well, obviously, and also drawing pretty well as well. But you need to do it GM Power no matter what. Giratina matchup, I'm not 100% sure how that is, but I think it's like the same as any Lost Box decks, maybe. I'm not sure. Miraidon is obviously the tough one. It's obviously the toughest matchup. But you might still be okay as GM Power if you can just manage the resources well, and just hope that they sometimes miss an attack one time, and you probably can take advantage of that. So that might be a decent thing. Just be careful of not using too many rare candies, because TM Debo can still be out of the way, especially in Urshifu and Terra, which I think it's actually a terrible matchup because of TM Debo just constant spamming against you. So, and also killing your Fredgebacks as well. Wrong Moon, I have 0 clue. Mew doesn't look super great, but might be okay still, because you can still one shot the VMAXs. Lawson decks pretty okay. Terrible against Lawson, terrible against Snorlax. So that's the only thing about it. Golden Goal. I really want to put this in B tier, but I just can't. I actually think it's a really fun deck. I just cannot see it being B tier, honestly. I just can't. I want to, but I just can't. Okay. And then we have the meme decks. Yeah. I don't care what anyone says. Cloth and Iron Man decks is meme decks. I don't care what anyone says. Valiant might be a little bit better than Cloth, I suppose. I'm not sure. This is a meme deck. This is also kind of a meme deck in my opinion. Not as much as Cloth, but it's just too This deck is just too matchup dependent that I cannot foresee it put it high, honestly. I will still say it. If I should choose, if I am not going to play any of these decks, I'll still play Goldango more than these two, honestly. I think Goldango's really fun. I also think it has a lot of potential to actually do pretty well if you draw pretty hard, because it has a decent, really good draw engine in itself, which is really nice. Just like how Mew can draw a bunch of cards, Goldango is kind of the same in a way, but a little bit fixed, or not as broken as Genesect, obviously. That's what I'm trying to say. It just has a terrible Giratina matchup, which is like the only thing that holds it back, I think. I also think the rest is actually pretty okay. You have a decent Rhino matchup. Not sure about the Garwar. And Charizard might be... It doesn't feel super great, but you might blow them up if you draw pretty hard, obviously. So you might blow them up. Mew could also be a trouble because it's a peak deck, so you're probably you're not doing well against the peak deck, so that's like the only problem with it. And also, like, Eugene's just too powerful. But yeah, This is the tier list. Take a screenshot or whatever you want. This is how I feel about it. How I feel about the meta right now. Or at least what I can foresee what's gonna happen. And what decks I actually like to play. Or could see myself actually play.